Am I the idiot for not helping my girlfriend cheat on an exam? So to give some background, me and my GF are both in university. In the past year or so, she has started getting the habit of cheating on almost every exam, usually by getting a sick note to get more time and then sending me pictures of the exam and asking me to search up answers. I can't pretend to be a saint because I've cheated before in the past as well, but nowhere near the extent as she does. See, if it was once or twice that she asked me to cheat, I wouldn't really mind because there might be something that you're dealing with in your life that makes it hard for you to study. But this has now become a habit for her, and I'm sick of it. I keep telling her to get her shit together and to stop relying on me to bail her out on exams, especially since she has already gotten caught before. I thought that being caught would have taught her a lesson, but boy was I wrong. Just 2 days ago she asked me to help her cheat on an exam she sick noted, and I tried to say no, but after a lot of pleading and begging I reluctantly helped her. Now she asked me again to help, but that was the last straw and I firmly said, no, I won't help her, without budging. She told me that this is the last exam she has, and so she won't ever ask me again after this, but I'm really annoyed by the fact that she relies on cheating so much that she can't even try to study hard for an exam. She's telling me that she can't do it, that she'll fail if I don't help and that this could ruin her entire future. So, legal ethics aside, because clearly cheating is wrong, I don't need anyone telling me that. Comment 1. Esh. College professor here. This is incredibly unethical on both sides. Your university would be very likely to discipline both of you, not just her, if they knew the situation. Cheating is rampant in university contexts, but it is the very essence of asshole behavior. You used to be an asshole for helping her. Now you might be working your way out of being one. Don't think of it as a victimless crime either. Students who study and work hard might do less well than a cheater and might not get the work opportunities they deserve. Your girlfriend's future employers might depend on her to have a skill she doesn't have. And the whole university system gets less respect because people cheat. Comment 2. Esh. Her for cheating her ass off and you for cheating and for helping her cheat. You are not an asshole for refusing to help her any further, but you both need to grow the fuck up. How do you, especially her, think you will be able to do whatever you are training for if you cheat your way through the training? As a professor, I hate dealing with students like this, but ultimately it hurts them more than it hurts me. As an employer, I truly hated hiring people like this, because they waste a whole lot of everyone's time and energy and bring the whole place down, and it is a pain in the ass to get rid of them. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for removing my wife's wrist privileges? Sorry for this random throwaway. I am 36M and she is 34F. The honest core of this question is that I am super anti-notification. I know I sound like a boomer, but I got sick of knowing that Aunt Maple commented on my Insta post years ago. I will open the app if I want to know that. I do not need to know about Aunt Maple's comment until the second I seek out that information. However, I appreciated the health and activity features on the Apple Watch. So I got one for myself and I tediously curated the information delivered to me on my wrist. Notifications are even worse on the watch because I can't exactly just flip the watch over and ignore it. My wife, whom I love very much, wanted to make sure she could get a hold of me, so we use a chat app that allows notifications. The rules were very clear when I switched to this app. She can text me once and I'll answer at my earliest convenience. I will always know it is her texting because she is the only person who has access to my wrist notifications. Any more than one text means the emergency. She has run afoul of that rule many times, as you can guess. She says she very literally cannot stop herself when she gets excited and that she's not neurotypical like me, so I can't understand. And she's right, I don't understand what it's like to have ADHD, but I do know what my boundaries are with my wrist buzzing while I'm at work. Last week, she sent me like 4 consecutive texts because she found out that her coworker, who I don't know and frankly do not care about, had gotten a DUI while he was in college, years ago. So that night I sat down with her and said I was not going to do the wrist notifications anymore, and that I'd regularly check my phone for messages from her. She was kind of vaguely mad about it for a week, but yesterday I finally just confronted her about it and she said that she thought I was being disrespectful of her limitations. and that everyone gets used to notifications eventually. I said it had been 3 months and I was still not used to it, and she said I should give it more time. Here's where I might have been an asshole. I told her I thought this was a tiny issue that wasn't even worth being angry about. I still check my phone for her texts and I've never missed one by more than like 15 minutes. I also explained that she can still call me if there's an emergency. She's still mad. ETA okay, she got home and I just had a short but really helpful conversation with her. She said that she didn't really want to buzz me all the time, but she felt really special that she was the only person who I allowed to text me on the watch. She was sad that we lost that little intimate connection. And that makes total sense, and we both committed to finding a good solution that makes us both happy. Really sorry that I dragged so many people into this. It was a small thing that could have been solved by both us being super vulnerable and honest with each other. Update. I wanted to update this to share some things I learned while we resolved this problem. Obviously, it ended up fine. It was a small problem that bubbled over, not a real issue. For people out there with ADHD partners, especially guys with ADHD girlfriends and wives, I learned 2 things that could help you in the future. 1. Rejection sensitivity is a common symptom of ADHD, especially in women. It stings extra when someone tells you no. That's why I got a big reaction from my wife. I didn't feel like I was rejecting her, only setting a boundary, but she felt differently, and her feelings matter to me. 2. Lots of people with ADHD have been told their entire lives that they are too much, and that they should take it down a notch. This is true of my wife, who has a very big personality. Hearing me ask her to control her wrist buzzes seemed a lot to her, like I was telling her to be smaller, to shut up. Those 2 things combined created hard feelings on her end. There was always going to be some conflict when I set that boundary, but I could have been more sensitive, and she could have been more communicative and understanding. These are the travails of marriage. It was a little speed bump and we got over it. Thanks to all the commenters. ETA, this was the solution. Honestly, it is so dumb simple. We moved the Yes app, Google Chat, to her second screen and moved the app we use with everyone, Signal, to her home screen. She can still access my wrist, but she has to think about it for an extra quarter second. It has solved 100% of the problem. Comment 1. My partner is a lot like you, OP. I have ADHD too, but only got a formal diagnosis last year. A few weeks after I noticed that he seemed to understand a lot more about how my brain was functioning. So if I got overstimulated or had what would seem to most as an overreaction, he would ask, "Is your brain telling you I don't love you?" Because I do love you and I will always love you. It didn't take long to realize he's done a bunch of research and reading about being a partner to someone with ADHD, and how it makes their brain work. It's a beautiful thing that you've done the same. People saying she should respect the boundary and that you shouldn't accommodate. It's wonderful that you are accommodating her as much as you can. And to those people I ask, when was the last time you fought your brain and won? It is incredibly difficult to fight with your own brain, and requires a lot of training on how to do it. It's not as straightforward as you'd like to think. For instance, right now stress is exacerbating my trichotillomania, which is telling me to rip out my hair. I have been fighting it for weeks, but I still have a bald spot. For the foreseeable future, I will be wearing a hat all day, every day, and a bonnet at night, because if I can easily get to my hair, I will tear it out. I can't control it. I wish I could. The hat makes an extra step, and since it isn't hair, it's much easier to tell my hands not to mess with it. More people need partners like you. I'm really glad the 2 of you were able to work through it and find a way to set the boundary, while still allowing her to feel like she is loved just as she is. It's an important thing to us neurodivergent folks. So, yay! For you. Comment 2. When was the last time you fought your brain and won? Wow, talk about an armor-piercing question. My partner and I are actually both on the waitlist for an ADHD assessment, but it seems a dead cert we both have it. His is more hyperactive, mine is definitely inattentive, plus I'm also autistic. So we're at cross purposes with each other a lot of the time, and it's definitely gotten way worse since we had COVID. My RSD was always pretty bad and he tends to shoot from the hip without thinking about how his words come across if he's stressed, and therefore under increased brain load. Not a good combo. ETA, BC ADHD brain means never getting it all in first go. I feel you on the trichotillomania. I actually started tweezing my leg hairs and pulling out pubic hair so as not to create a bald spot on my head or a gap in my eyelashes. I have a couple and I know that with Sjogren's syndrome my eyes need all the protection they can get from dust.